Info is Friday, 7:31. It's wet one, by the way. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimmy. Disu. Good morning.
Welcome to Dailies today, Lagos. How are you? I hope you're prepared for a wet day because it's looking like it's gonna rain all day today. I wasn't even in the studio when it started raining. I didn't know until someone told me that hey, it's raining outside.
Do you know the embarrassing thing about what you just said?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any rain.
Oh, really?
Honestly. So when you say it's going to be a rainy day, and I'm asking myself where,
Oh, wow.
and I live a stone's throw away, I haven't seen any rain so far. Did it rain all night?
No, not all night.
Oh, okay.
Not all night.
Did it rain at all?
It rained.
I must have been sleeping deeply.
It rained.
I
I heard it was very heavy on the mainland, but here on the
Really?
island, it was just a little
I didn't
shower.
feel anything. You feel nothing.
Yeah. You can watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3 on those two platforms, Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook and on YouTube. I have this nice cap on that I'd love you to see. Don't look, you can see it already.
Okay. You're very lucky it's not my size.
It's not your size at all. It's not. Now, let's start with the Punch newspaper, page 7 of the Punch. I have two stories on this page alone. After denial, Lagos appoints Oluomo head of Parks Garages Committee.
Yeah, I mean, this is a, should I say, a wonderful present to me on my birthday just around the corner. But for reasons that are personal to me and for various other reasons, I will defer my comments because I really can't make them on radio. There are rules that guide, what you say on radio, and in the light of what has happened, I just reserve my comments at the appropriate time and the appropriate place. I'll give my full comments on this. But I can summarize everything by saying that in the 66 years, because I'll just be 67 tomorrow, that I've lived on earth, maybe half of it being a full-grown adult, I have never been so pained like I was yesterday. And then from a jocular side, if you want to look at it, if you have a sense of humor, I just feel like Fayose the other day when they kept on saying, "I am in pain, I am in pain." So I can't make my comments on radio, and it just won't work there. But at the appropriate time and the appropriate place, I'll do that. So you can go on the next one.
Let's take the next story very quickly. Page 7 still. Second story. Adeboye's son, Leke, apologizes for calling pastors goat.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. This is a matter for the Redeemed Church and really shouldn't be much of our business. But Adeboye is our business. I don't want to use the word brand, but it's a brand. It's a Nigerian brand. It's highly exposed. Now, the issue here is that this gentleman, Leke, is Pastor Adeboye's son, and what I was told is also his personal assistant. And that there's a rule in the Redeemed Church that says that on particular days after the pastor has given his own sermon, which is broadcast, I think, and all that is fine, no other pastor is supposed to give is supposed to grant any sermon or whatever after I give any sermon. And that Leke in an outburst, Mr. Leke Adeboye in an outburst, called those who did it in an outburst in public, called them goats. Now, this is very, very unfortunate coming from anybody, any full-grown adult for that matter, and then coming from the son of Pastor Adeboye. It's a reflection. You see, all the things that we see these days is a reflection of how, I'm sorry to use the word, morally decadent we're coming, not just on these fronts, various fronts, political, name it. That I was joking with Sheriff this morning that in Yoruba they say, "Yomangbadura kodru emari ibi." Well, ibi, I mean, things like this, the news making the rounds and so on and so forth. But the honest to God truth is this. You see, people who put themselves out there for the public, for the general public, you will always find it difficult to raise their children properly. This gentleman, he has apologized. Fair enough. We take the apology.
No, but he refused at first. I followed the story.
Yeah, he refused to
He
apologize.
refused. He refused until a committee was set up. A 6-man committee was set up.
And
he even refused at first to go and present himself before the committee.
I think that even setting up a committee, the man should have been fired. If he wasn't the pastor's son, that would have been the first thing to do, to fire him, so there's no be issue. How can you, the PA to the GO of the Redeemed Church refer to your pastors as goats?
What impudence?
But you see, I think it could be a bit more than impudence. And for the sake of not wanting to push the embarrassment too far, I'm sure you have a fair idea of what I could be talking about. It could be beyond him. This is part of the problem when we don't face reality sometimes, that we have challenges. Or that people around us have challenges. It doesn't add up. I don't think it's impudence. And I don't even subscribe to those who think that maybe he was badly brought up.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Rather, I would see instead of even setting up an inquiry, his parents should take him for counseling and find out what has gone wrong.
They have all the machinery.
All the machinery, yes. I mean, you don't call. Do you know who the pastors were? Even minus who they are, you're talking of the likes of Pastor Hiwere, Gbajabi Amila, retired judge, various pastors all over, strewn all over, and you call them goats? And the pastor is pussyfooting because this is your PA. The first thing you should have done is to fire him and restrain him until his problem is solved. Restrain him from membership of the church. We can, and I've seen, there was an article, for example, in the Punch today. Somebody granted an interview, and people were shifting to the left and shifting to the right. And the Lord says this, and this is a very straightforward case that needs further examination, to my mind.
Okay.
But it's a regime problem. It's not. The problems that face us are much larger than somebody calling pastors goats. The problems that face us in the state and in the country, if not properly handled, could lead to a total destruction. But I don't want to go along that line this morning. Pastor Adeboye, do the right thing, really and truly. Apparently, they have some reason to believe that this guy could have been spoiled in the past, and I don't think you want to do that further before it becomes a much further embarrassment. But he has apologized. Or rather, an apology has appeared in his name.
Yeah.
Because when I read that apology, something told me that...
Oh, what a way to put it.
It was crafted. Yeah, it was crafted.
Oh, deep go. Well, Ifeoma on Facebook says, this will tell the renowned preacher how the son will run his Christian empire when he is no more.
The son will not run his Christian empire because it's not his. Adeboye doesn't own the Redeemed Church. He doesn't own the church.
Oh, really?
There's a gentleman who started the church, and if it wasn't for the controversy that trailed, there was this federal government, whatever, directive that says he should have retired and allowed somebody else to take over. He doesn't own the church. The church doesn't belong to him. In fact, the Redeemed Church is probably one of the best structured Pentecostal churches today. It's not owned by anybody. The gentleman who started it, he has a family, he has everything. But it's gone, let me use the word corporate. Maybe it's time for Baba to even retire, and be a GO emeritus and allow younger people to run this affair. Maybe this is a signal from God telling him that time up, could you please step aside? But I have a lot of pity for him. Having just lost his son not too long ago and stuff like that. He's gone through a lot of trials and tribulation. But he needs to take off that religious toga and look at this issue practically, from a practical standpoint. Well, like I said, it's a regime problem.
Okay, all right. Let's get to Vanguard. We'll drop the punch. Now, let's pick up the Vanguard. Terrorists to FG, talk to us or we'll kill all our captives. It's on page 5 of the Vanguard.
And these terrorists were saying yesterday that they released the acting managing director, Alhaji of BOA, Alhaji Ali Hassan, because he's an old man. Okay, and in the spirit of Ramadan, only for it to show up here, I don't know whether it's verified or not, that the man actually paid 100 million to secure his freedom.
That's what I get to.
That's a lot of old age.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think the federal government should move in very quickly and put a closure to this, either which way, whichever. But I would love one day when you would have a government who would stand firm and say, we will not negotiate with terrorists. Until you do that, you'll keep having things like this.
Yeah. We'll stay with the Vanguard, page 7. 2023, Osinbajo set to declare for presidency.
Let this man declare now. I think I need to put a full call through to him. Let Jimi declare, and let's anybody who wants to declare should declare now, and let's bring down the tension and know who is doing what. Like I said, he has, in fact, like somebody said, I think it was Remi Odukoya that was saying yesterday that he has the first right of refusal, being the vice president, politically, not by law or by whatever. Yeah. He has the first right of refusal. So pussyfooting and waiting for people, nobody is calling on him. He should come out. He should be bold enough to come out and say, look, I've been with Buhari for close to 8 years now, and I want to continue the good works that he has done. And then let the people decide. The question, though, the question that keeps running through people's heads is that, would he continue with the policies? Let's assume that he gets the ticket. The question is, would he continue with this Buhari style and whatever, and policies? I suspect maybe not.
Oh, okay.
I suspect you might not have a wide drift, but at least governance style, I believe, might change. Policies there might be an attempt to tidy it up. I can see Osinbajo, hopefully, this is how we all started 8 years ago, speculating on what Buhari would do, and then at the end of the day, he fall everybody's hand. But I can see him running a tight corporate structure. He's geared towards that, a tight corporate structure in governance and so on and so forth. But that's for him to come and tell us. But what we're hearing now is that he is expected to declare on a particular date, and we heard that it's a matter of days. Posters are prepared by his support group, are being pasted in some public places. But the newspaper says that some of his aides who are contacted to give the exact date of Osinbajo's declaration declined to do so. Is the declaration going to be done? Is it going to be a secret?
No,
is it going to be done in camera?
No, it can't be.
It can't be. Why not give us a date? But so we are waiting to see how all this will go, because you see, once that happens and a few other people declare, then maybe it will take our minds off some of the gory things that we're seeing in the polity these days. It would help assuage people. People at least will have some hope that, okay, this is where we might be going, or this is where we might not be going. You wanted to ask me something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask whether you feel this will cause any shift of any kind in the APC eventually.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You see, when I hear some political analysis, I laugh. People don't know the power of the state. A current vice president is running. If it takes giving some people an oil well, they will do so. A lot of people will fall out. Politicians they're funny people. They drift like water, they go like that. That's why you can see them. If politicians can shift in between parties like that, it's even easier for them to shift in between individuals. Once he steps in, and politicians deal more in the present than in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you saying? Once he steps in, the power of the state is phenomenal. All kinds of things are going on in the background that some of us know. Of course, we can't say these things on air. That would be irresponsible to do so. But you will soon see what the polity would look like. Then you'll be asking yourself, what has happened? I think that, believe you me, people say all kinds of things, but I suspect that he's going to be the front runner in the APC. Oh yes, he's going to be the front runner. This is what would normally happen with a president.
Okay.
Even though he might not force through his own preferred candidates, he definitely has all the powers under the sun to stop somebody he doesn't want. Trust me on that. Even though he can't say, okay, Sheriff is the man that I want, he has the power, politically and otherwise, to stop. So It's something like Babangida said one time. Even though we don't know who we are going to hand over to, we know who we will not hand over to. You're just nodding your head and saying, "Oh."
I'm thinking like.
Like what?
You like it?
You sound like a bulldog. Sheriff, you will kill me, I'm telling you.
Okay, let's take the second story from the Vanguard newspaper. Train attacks. Buhari approves railway surveillance contract.
Well, at last, Amechi has finally gotten his way. The contract that he was talking about has been approved. But a source has told the Vanguard about the politics behind the memo that he sent. And the source said that the manner the memo was stepped down was indeed surprising and unusual. Amechi was explicit on the need and urgency of the security surveillance contract. As a matter of fact, he said that there are some security reports from security agencies indicating that bandits would attack the rail line. It was because of these security reports that Amechi proposed this security solution for the rail line, and he was very clear about it. But the fact that the Federal Executive Council was just happening on brand. They were not just happening on brand. If you are going to use an equipment in that kind of thing, at least you want to know, is it Sony? Is it what brand? And branding is simply because you need confidence in such a system. But so if they were happening on brand, how do you present a memo in the first place to the Federal Executive Council without specifying what brand of is that how it is done at that level? It's like saying you want to run a transport, you want to run a fleet, okay? And you put in your bid for approval to buy vehicles for the fleet. Are you going to indicate the brand that you want? Because it's going to talk about costs, it's going to talk about maintenance, so many other things. He didn't do that. It says that asking Amechi was just happening on brand, asking Amechi severally what brand of equipment will be brought, who the manufacturers are, and so on. These are valid questions. I don't know why this source is saying this. And it says this is very unusual at FEC meeting. Well, usually those small details are handled by BPP, but they were not handled. Okay? And BPP has already approved this contract. Who in the BPP approved the contract that didn't indicate brand and what specific equipment you are going to use?
Maybe to the BPP, it wasn't really important.
Excuse me.
Maybe. I'm
Excuse
just saying
me.
maybe.
Okay.
It could also be maybe somebody is in the FEC that didn't want these things to be bought.
It could be, yes.
We could try to break all these things down. You'll see that everybody has a case.
It could be. It could be. But imagine, God will catch you now. imagine us in this studio. Somebody. Hello, Mamwe. Imagine somebody wants to bring equipment for us to use in this broadcast.
Yeah.
Aren't you going to be asking what the brand is? I agree that.
Maybe in some quarters, maybe in some places, brand is quite important. Well, brand naming and tagging, those things are important. Maybe in security, maybe they are not. Maybe they are not. I'm just saying that what should be paramount is get the equipment to work.
Which equipment? Why are you following my hand now?
Get the equipment to work. The company is there. Get it. Why is some people trying? That's the question people will be asking. Like, why are you bent on? That's the person. That's the thing the source is saying. Why are you bent on brand?
Okay, why are you then?
You don't want them to get this equipment so that what now?
Cool down.
So that this thing can happen.
Why are you bent on not telling us what the brand is?
What is?
If I want to wait.
As long as you get the equipment.
Wait, I go hook you now.
I mean, what do I need the brand for? That's my own question.
If I want to buy you a car, you won't ask me what kind of car it is.
That's why I said initially. I said in some spaces in the media, of course, I would need to know. The
and in security, you won't.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Moody,
I don't know much about security stuff. I'm just saying that maybe.
Like Moody says, you fall my hand.
You
fall my hand.
I'm just saying, just maybe.
I do it for hand, me say, you fall my hand. You fall my hand. You fall, man.
Or maybe some people are just trying to say, okay, we know somebody in Shun Securities.
All that I agree.
Let's go and buy
guess what?
this
And
thing
guess
there.
what? The company that was even presenting, the company he presented, had just been set up 2 years ago.
Can they do the job?
No experience.
Can they do the job?
Security job.
Can they do the job?
Let's put a call through to Blade and let him tell us. He's a security expert. You are not. I am not. What?
We don't have time. I'm looking at the time. We don't have time.
Anyway. This is.
Let's take this one here. This is another one that's quite interesting. Vanguard, page 18. Beyond the sack of police protest leaders.
Oh yes, the Vanguard are putting up an argument that okay, fine, you've sacked, just like we said the other day, you've sacked the protesters and so on and so forth. But the Vanguard are saying that though we oppose open industrial action, we fear that the sack of the proposed strike ringleaders, that's the police, will worsen situations within the force and the system as a whole. It will only lead the rest of the personnel to bottle up their feelings and impose the peace of the graveyard. Now look at the irony. Sorry, I keep poking your hand. It says you can move back.
It's okay. You have to stay in camera view.
It says, what an irony that the same police personnel sent to quell the first anniversary of NSAS, it was police that are now protesting and are left to protest for themselves over their poor conditions of service. It is now obvious that the measures the presidency and police authorities took to appease the NSAS protesters in terms of police welfare made no meaningful impact. So, and they said the resort to internal repression of the protest leaders will not vitiate the general feeling of estrangement within the force. This one, next one, is very interesting.
Yes, it is. It is. It's from the Nation newspaper. And it's an opinion piece by Olukorede Ishao, and it says, our lawmakers' fixation with multi-choice.
Yes. Our lawmakers follow very well the activities of multi-choice, and by extension, of course, they also follow Big Brother. The governor did that for months or for days on end. And Olukorede Ishao argues that, look, because I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Senate had they also were looking at the activities of multi-choice and telling them not to increase their prices and so on and so forth. Multi-choice is a commercial enterprise. It's not an essential commodity.
No, it's not.
I'm surprised.
In fact, it's a luxury product.
It's a luxury product. If you can't afford it, you leave it. If you have data, you can go to YouTube. There's so many things you can do. So many alternatives. So many. And if you don't have any of the alternatives, go under a tree and listen to radio. It's free. You know, and you ask yourself, what is the business of the Senate? Why do they have this fixation on calling these multi-choice people every time to Abuja to come and defend their prices? And it says here that, however, the Senate in the statement ordering the return to real prices acted as though it is unaware of the rising cost of keeping businesses afloat in the country. I know for real, the broadcast equipment that dotes the whole country nationwide are run by generators. The cost of diesel has gone up. Isn't it logical? It is run by generators. The cost of diesel has gone up. The cost of doing business, in fact, we're very lucky. We should be thanking the telecoms, whatever, that they have not increased their rates. The cost of living has gone up almost twofold in Nigeria. Why are we running away from the obvious whatever? And then the gentleman argues. This is I give Olukorede Ishao. If it wasn't for Ramadan period, I'd have sent him a bottle of champagne, but I'll send him a crate of water because he should be fasting. And he says that.
So he can drown.
He says that the Senate was in snooze mode when electricity tariffs were increased. What has the Senate done? Nothing. And it has remained indifferent to the stealth with which it seems petrol price is about to be raised by the federal government. Also observed is a similar insouciance, well, that's what I think it is, about how paid television providers and other private businesses will remain afloat. I mean, the Senate, for God's sake, they are playing to the gallery. There are enough essentials. Kerosene has gone up, diesel has gone up, there's no power, the cost of power has gone up. You don't want to know how much some of us pay for power on a weekly basis. You don't want to know. You just don't want to know how much you pay for power on a weekly basis. With all those problems, why should the Senate be concerning itself with multi-choice? Well, all said and done, 2023 is round the corner. For all of you who have various complaints about our leaders across the board and across the country, next year provides an opportunity for you to effect that thing. If you don't do it, then you can't hold responsible. You can't hold anybody responsible for what you get.
Indeed. 7:56. We'll just take this last one, then we'll go. Ebenezer Obey at 80.
Ebenezer Obey, congratulations, sir. Today also is Mrs. Bisi Odionseri. Do you know her?
No.
Bisi Lola Odionseri. Cash Madam. You haven't heard of Cash Madam?
No.
Okay, I forgot. I keep forgetting we are not in the same generation.
No, we are not.
We are not. Those are the top socialites of. She's 87 today, and he did a song. Okay, so the Nation has this nice editorial and saluting Ebenezer Obey at 80, and I use this opportunity to congratulate Papa, because it's not a Papa whether he likes it or not. And they go down memory lane. And some of his songs say what God has joined together. I remember, but I think the most popular one is the one of the man, the horse, and his son or something like that. Kete, the man, the donkey.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you take away from the lyrics of today's music?
What music is that?
Today's music. What do you take if you talk?
Oh, you mean today's
the compositions?
Okay.
If you talk
there's nothing to the lyrics.
Nothing. To
the
lyrics.
The lyrics is just
sad.
empty, empty. What we have now are just beat sounds.
It's called the horse, the man, and his son. One long, but let me go.
We have to go now.
Yes, the whole of next week I won't be here.
Yeah. You won't be here.
I'm taking a rest. I told you now. Why you
okay. You won't be here.
This is my last.
The whole of 1 week. This
is my last newspaper review until another 10 days.
A whole 1 week.
1 week.
From Tuesday.
From Tuesday, man. You won't find me anywhere.
Oh wow.
And it is coming at the appropriate time. Sheriff, this work comes with a lot of trauma.
It does. It does.
You know.
Yeah, it
can
does.
Almost, thank God I'm an old man.
We say this all the time.
It could almost make a young man impotent.
People won't know the kind of pressure, the kind of weight
and trauma, and the kind of things that you see and the things that you hear. You guys at home is lucky. People like my friend Onobote, he doesn't read Taiwo Onobote. He doesn't read papers. He doesn't listen to radio. When I say JT, he say George, he doesn't. So I have from 3 a.m. So for 1 week, I'll just sit at home and relax.
It's needed. It's very much needed. Thank you so much for the show today. Thank you for coming, and we wish you a very lovely rest. Oh, you're still coming here tomorrow, so
I'll come tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, that's good.
My hand on.
Oh, it's birthday now, so yeah. I'll be here. I'll come and hang on.
Tell me the brand of the car you want to give me as present too.
We have to go now. Lagos, thank you. Whoever is next. I'm Sherry, who's Jimmy Monitor.
.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's